Okay, so obvious place to start, tech channel ambassadors, new organization. So where did the idea come? What's the background to coming up with the idea?
Okay, so the background is I've been in the industry for more years than we really like to think about, but probably close to way more than 40, I think, so at the time. And during that time, we've always had a shortage of people in the industry. And my background was I was in distribution, so in the food chain, in the value food chain, distribution gets the least margin out of the whole process, and therefore we spent a lot of time hiring people, training people, and then having them I could use the word relocated into other areas into vendors into the channel. And so basically that's been going on forever, and I've noticed it forever. I left, and one of the things I did was started up a charity to do with getting more people STEM generation. So it was getting people into STEM subjects and supporting schools around that. And as part of that progression, I then got involved with some of the people in the channel and to talk to them about that as a concept. And the obvious thing that came out of that was the fact that we as a channel have some absolutely great individual initiatives for what people are doing in terms of bringing people into the channel. But as an organization, the IT channel, we have no strategy. We have no strategic engagement with government. We have no strategic engagement with education. And we have no strategic engagement across the channel with schools, education, and also to add that further through, with also getting people returning to work and also older individuals into the channel. So we're not making a message out to the world. When we go and talk to schools, and when I've gone and talked to schools, and when the other members of the team have gone and talked to schools, the kids have no idea what the IT channel is, and the kids that do know about it, the people who are interested are the people maybe who are coders, and the people who are doing STEM subjects. So, but if you look at what the channel is, 95% of the channel doesn't require maths, doesn't require science, doesn't require coders. We're running, everybody's running businesses that are carrying right the way through. So the purpose of tech channel ambassadors is to take the message to schools, particularly, and not at in sixth form, and not just at universities, but actually to get down into the very early years, 11-year-olds, 12-year-olds, and start to tell them that IT is a career, and that you don't need to be, sure, there are places in IT, in the IT channel, where maths and science helps, but actually there are a huge number of people who self-exclude. And we found this, I found this when I've gone and talked to schools, and the other members of the board have also found this. We don't have a message that goes out there to tell people that we exist, and then to tell people it's a career. And everybody, when you talk to people, the great thing is when you talk to people about how the channel works and how their role works, everybody's kind of made their way up through climbing into a tree. You start in one role, and then you get somewhere else, and then you get somewhere else, and it's not a linear progression. It just experience as you go through. And we're keen, the purpose of this is we're keen to pass the message to people that you can come in, you can try a role, it's an exciting area, and you can progress through it, and it's a proper career. All of this stuff is just not there. There are careers in schools, but those careers, advisors give equal weight to to all the roles that they have to cover. And actually, given the size of the channel, so the IT channel's somewhere in the region of, and this is an approximation, but somewhere in the region of north of 50 billion a year. So we're a huge part and a huge contributor to Britain. And yet when you go into a school and you talk to people about the IT channel, you have no idea what the IT channel is. You know, I'm not, you know, if I wanted to go into IT, I need maths or I need science or whatever. And what's the IT channel? So the purpose of this is to go out and take the message out to schools to get people who would self-exclude. You know, there's a, you know, the other half of this messaging is we have a lack of diversity across it, and we have a lack of opportunities given to people who are in disadvantaged groups, and there's a lot of people who self-exclude. So when you talk to people, talk to kids, they're self-excluding, and you talk to teachers, the kids are self-excluding at year 12, 12-year-olds, 13-year-olds. You know, I'm not into science. Why would I ever think about getting into IT? They've gone before they even had an opportunity. And so what we need to do is to get there, to get the people in economically disadvantaged groups, you know, BAME, LBGT, all of these people, all of these children who have no idea of the opportunity that's there, are excluding themselves way before they'd even be considered. So we have a funnel that is narrowed. By the time they get into sixth form, that funnel is narrowed to a select group of people who are not as diverse as the actual people, all the kids who would actually be eligible to come into our environment. And so what we need to do is to take this diversity funnel down, further down into early years, to let them know of the opportunities that are available for them, and that actually there's no reason to self-exclude. They can aspire to have a career in the IT channel. And so that's kind of where we are. So some of that's ignored the question as to how we got there, but
That's right.
but that's where we are. We want to increase the diversity, we want to increase the awareness, and at the other end of the scale, we need to engage as the IT channel, 50 billion industry. We need to engage with government and with careers and with NGOs to get the messages through to them. Again, because you know the IT channel is prevalent. It's every town. There are bars. It's all there. You know, we are contributing right across the country, but actually it's hidden contribution. You know, and what we need to do is to get the message out to government that they need to be more aware of what we're doing, and to take that into account, and to support us in the things that we need to be doing to bring people through. You know, and so we really that's the kind of core why we want to do it. And then who do we want to do it with? We want everybody to be involved. You know, we are all, on the one level, we are all short of staff, and that's incredibly disruptive. So companies, there's some statistics showing about 1.5 billion in costs for people for organizations who are trying to retain staff. That's ignoring the costs of retraining, because you have to hire somebody to replace the person that's gone, and all the opportunity costs that we're having just for our existing staff base today. But also we are restricting the growth of the companies in the channel. We're short about 100,000, somewhere north of 100,000 people in the channel, and that's affecting everybody, whether it's a large organization. So large organizations, the big vendors and private equity funded organizations, they can fund their way through this, but we've already seen it now. With some of the changes that's been taking place economically, even the large organizations are going, we are spending too much money in our staff costs. So we're inflating the salaries. We can hire somebody, but we have to pay them extra to get them. So whenever we lose somebody, we can hire somebody. That completely distorts the economic situation inside a large company. And so basically you can buy your way out of it, but it's affecting your profits. And now investors are beginning to and the management in some of those large organizations are shedding staff because they're looking at their costs. But they're shedding staff because of the costs rather than because they don't want the staff, right? So they're taking an economic hit of getting rid of people, but actually of then restricting what they can be doing. And in the VARs and in the distribution, the challenge is you're training staff and people are taking them away, or you can't afford to hire people to do the job because there's so much pressure on staffing costs, and that restricts you. So as a smaller company, as a VAR, your growth is not restricted by the opportunity. Your growth is restricted by your staffing and the training structure, and then you train somebody up and then they get hired to go somewhere else who can pay more to take those staff. And when I was in, my company in distribution, I've had people come to me and they've been offered 50 and 60% more to go somewhere else. And they've said, I love working here, Ian, and thank you for the opportunity of training me through and doing all the stuff for me. And I've been with you doing this, but what am I supposed to do? And some of them asked me, genuinely, I'd like to stay. And I've had to say, like, 60% more. You've got a wife and children. Take the money, take the opportunity. And then I've had to go back and we start hiring somebody else, training them through and doing the stuff. That's, that damaged our growth potential. And that's what's happening every day in the channel. So what we want to do is to increase the size of this funnel so that for all of us contributing to increase the size of the funnel so that we all, as a whole entity, the IT channel is actually grows as a result of this and gets the benefit. And so part of that is we want people to go out, and particularly young people, but everybody, every company, to go out and do their piece for this and start talking to children who are 12, 13, 14 and tell them, one, that their life story. So you're 22, working the IT channel. This is how I got here. This is where I am now. So we give people the aspiration piece. We explain, as part of that presentation, we explain you don't need to be a coder. You don't need to be doing maths and science. You can get a job here. And then basically this is a career. So this is just taking the message out and growing that awareness. And as part of that, we've got some data analytics and stuff built in so that we can help organizations who've put out those ambassadors to then track how the strategic goal, the strategic goal is to get more people in here. And if you start at 12 or 13 years old, you're not going to see the benefit of those for 3 or 4 years. But once we start this wheel rolling, then clearly we will get people coming through. And for those ambassadors to go out, we then like them, if we get it, as and when we get we go viral, then we want them to be going in to deal with 14 and 15-year-olds and bringing this up the chain inside schools. And so this is something that everybody can get involved with, whether you're a large manufacturer, a vendor, whether you're a distributor, whether you're a VAR, whether you're an MSSP, everybody can do this. It doesn't take a lot of time. We provide the tools that enable you to engage with the local school. It's great for the organizations because you're making your noise locally. So that's increasing your visibility, it's increasing your engagement, it's increasing the pool for you as well as the pool for everyone across the channel. So that's a kind of short version of what we're trying to do. And we've had a huge response from it. And we're now live and taking it out. And the great thing about it is it benefits everybody, but it's also benefiting the school children. If you don't know this exists, you're not getting the opportunities that are available to you, could be available to you, because your school isn't aware about the opportunities in the channel, isn't aware that the IT channel exists. So it's a win-win-win. This sounds like a politician, so I'll drop back from that. But it's everybody wins from it, and it's feel good. That's the other thing. When we're talking to people, they're delighted to be doing it. They're keen to be volunteering, and it takes, you know, to do one presentation to a school, it's taken an hour out of your day to go and do that, and you come away having seen a bunch of kids and motivated them to something that they were not aware of until you've gone in the door.
And so in terms of the sort of practicalities, I think you alluded to that, you supply material. I mean, do you have sort of a range of collateral materials to help people? And I'm also thinking, what you mentioned about engaging with government, do you have a sort of strategy as to how to do it? Just, I suppose what I'm saying is, how formal is it, or are you also interested in anyone sort of coming along and suggesting? So yeah, how does the organization sort of achieve its objectives, I suppose, is the question.
Okay, so we have a board, and we've got some of that who've experience in dealing with government and in careers teams. So they'll be involved in, for want of a better expression, the forum that's involved with the government. And there'll be other forums that are involved with going into schools, other forums involved in producing more collateral. A lot of that collateral is, and also forums providing mentoring. You know, we need to provide some mentoring to people. If you're going to go into a school, come in and look at the videos, see the videos as to what we're suggesting for how you do a presentation. You know, because a lot of people who will be joining this won't have done it before, and in many cases, because we're looking to encourage organisations to put younger staff out there, then they may not have experience of doing presentations. And so again, this is an opportunity for people, for organisations to progress their staff. You know, if you go out stand in front of a class of kids, that's great for your CV. You know, and we provide the support beforehand, and we have some mentoring around it if people actually need individual, specific mentoring around it. We have people prepared to do mentoring. So we've kind of got we're still putting it all together. You know, this is a community interest thing. So we're looking for, as part of it, we're looking for people who are volunteering to be on some of those forums to support us in doing that, and we're looking for people to provide. We do videos. We're putting videos up as to how to do a presentation. Here's the kind of things you might want to think about. Here's how you contact a school. Here's what you want to do with that. And we provide tracking. So once you've gone in, we do some tracking between the organisations and the schools, just to keep that touch going. You know, we've got a system. We use Hive, and Hive enables us to then prompt your company to go back and just check with the school, see how it went, and at years, various points. So what we want to do, and our goal, our aspiration on this, is to create those links and then to support your organization in maintaining those links. You know, it's great to go in and talk to 12-year-olds or 13-year-olds, but actually, what we actually want to do is to carry a momentum within the school to bring those people through, those kids through, to go and join, to get into the IT channel. As part of that, having that engagement from your company gives you the potential that when that 12-year-old or 13-year-old actually wants to come in to go and join the IT channel, they might want to talk to your company, depending on the size of it and depending on your opportunities at the time. So our support is to enable that continued engagement. We don't want just a one hit, go in, talk to a school, job's done, I'll walk away. What we want to do is to encourage some degree of engagement so that we all, and you as a company, gain the benefit of having done this. We want to create a big enough funnel that we get 100,000 people. Now that's not going to happen in a year or 2 years or 3 years, but actually by doing it, we will set in motion those gears to bring those kind of numbers of people knocking on the door. I mean, a weird aspiration out of this is we actually end up with more applicants than we can handle. And that's not something we have in this industry at all. And then the other piece is, which is also important, we have a lot of companies and a lot of people, the companies on the board, who have great initiatives for bringing people in further down the line, further up the line. So coming from university, coming from sixth form, and we want to be able to share some of that best practice to organisations so that they can actually then start to to model some of their behaviour and some of their recruitment on some of those best practices. So basically, this is it's a community interest. So the idea is we want as many people as possible to get involved. We want some people to get involved in supporting the forums, and then we want everybody to be supporting these ambassadors and getting people out there to take the message to kids that this is a career, it's exciting, it's interesting. Let's be blunt, the money's better in this than it is in doing, say, woodland management. And that's a great place for people to be doing stuff like that. But actually, there's good money here, and there's opportunities. And this is quite, a key piece of this. Diversity is still lacking. If we're going to be cut to the chase, I'm an old white bloke, telling everyone that we want to have more diversity. What we need to do is we need more women, we need more BAME, we need more people, more breadth in this in our industry. And to get more breadth, we need to start engaging with the people who are currently disengaging. These are people at 12 or 13. They'll never think about getting into IT. It's too difficult for them. It's too expensive. They don't have the knowledge. They're economically disadvantaged. So why would they ever think they could get into it? It's, we're in an industry that's basically 90% of the potential, or that's a guess, but a significant percentage of the potential is self-excluding. And we need to change that model so that we get a true recognition of the diversity that's available and that's in our country, in our nations, actually trying to get in jobs in IT, in the IT channel.
In terms of the initial sort of impetus, have you got some sort of founder, I don't know, member companies or individuals? What's your sort of base at the moment, on top of which you obviously want to build this substantial community?
We've got people both from both three. We've got people from manufacturers, from distribution, and from VARs, and a significant number of people who we're now engaging with right the way across the piece. So the nice thing is we've got the beginning of what we think is the mix we need. The real mix we need is to have vendors, distributors, and VARs and MSSPs all involved in doing this. And we've already got that kind of membership already on board, and we're looking to now scale that. But it's not it's important for us that we maintain and build that mix. This is not something that we want just as large large vendors doing it. We need everybody to be involved in doing this, and everyone's got a place in it. And some people have got different places in it. If you're a vendor, actually you can roll some of this out as part of not only as part of your ESG, but actually you can roll some of this out into your channel to drive, to use this as part of what you're doing as a channel initiative. So you're, for want of a better expression, you're burnishing your credentials, but actually you're supporting everybody being able to do this. And at the other end, if you're an MSSP or a VAR, then depending on your size, you're able to take everyone who's able to take their message out locally, which is, as I said, it hits all the buttons for people. I don't bang too much on the fact about it's the ESG versus actually what you're trying to do, but actually it fits right across our whole span. Does that kind of answer the question?
Yeah, and I'm just wondering as well, are you possibly looking at educating? I mean, I think most organisations understand, the need to engage with people earlier and also on the sort of DEI front, but perhaps not all. So is there any element of educating organisations that they themselves need to be a bit more, shall we say, well, not broad, but just more open to, looking for potential employees in areas where, as you say, traditionally they wouldn't even have thought about it. So it's a sort of two-way thing, as opposed to going and looking for potential candidates and telling them we've got a great industry, saying to the industry, why don't you actually slightly, recalibrate your thinking as to where you might be getting your next employees from?
It is, and in part, as part of that, we have collateral for organisations for them to promulgate this out to their staff, because some of this, there's a lot of messaging on this, and there's a lot of, again, let's be real straight. There's a lot of beneficial messaging. If you start telling your staff that actually we care about bringing in more people, we care about these different diversity groups, we care about what's happening locally, so we want you to be engaged locally. That provides the potential for a mechanism for people for organisations to be carrying their message internally, and that's a positive message. The positive message for you, if you sign up for this as an organisation, we're providing you the collateral that you can send to local schools. We're providing you the collateral that you can send to the local press to say that you're doing this. But that also contains the collateral and the messaging that you can take out to your staff about, we care about diversity, we care about inclusion, we care about this. And actually, if you want to be doing some of this, we're supportive of it. So by the very nature, but back to to the question, that by the very nature of that, this provides another component in organisations taking the message to their staff right the way across their organisation about what their views are, what their interests are, and about diversity and inclusion, and in getting more kids in. So it's a very positive message for a company who are signing up for this to then have ambassadors to let everybody in the organisation know what they're doing. And if you've got offices, if you're a large vendor, you've got multiple offices, you're telling those people that, your staff, that actually, not only do we care about you, not only do we care about stuff, but actually we're providing opportunities for local children to come into our organisation, and we care right the way across, the whole diversity DEI spectrum. We care about people. That's a really positive message, and it's not difficult, and it's not expensive. And you don't have to go into major changes in any of the stuff you're doing. You just add this on, and you get that feel good factor.
I suppose the other thing to ask would be in terms of how you would judge how successful you've been. I suppose, have you set any particular targets? Both, I mean, as you say, it's not going to happen overnight, but have you got any sort of short-term goals and then longer term, in 5 years? Well, I don't know what it is, because you say there's 100,000 people lacking, so you're not going to find them tomorrow. So yeah. As I say, what I'm saying is, how do you work out how much of an impact you're having, I suppose, is the question.
Okay, so our first interest, our first goals are to get ambassadors on board. Is to go viral, get the breadth, get people to repost our messaging, and get more people on. So as to build up the base of people who are doing this. So basically build up the ambassador base and start to. So leaving aside, we've got the stuff that's sitting there in terms of what we do with government, what we do with education, what we do with careers, but in terms of our core activity regarding ambassadors, we need more ambassadors. We want to get this big base of ambassadors set up, and we need to get those people out there and into schools. And so that's key messaging number one. Beyond that, because we have tracking available, then we can then start. So that's and our goal is to go out, get as many people into as many schools, and to maintain that momentum. That we don't want this to be a one-hit wonder. Go out, do all the schools, and then everyone sits on their hands, and it all kind of gradually subsides. We then want, assuming success. So let's work on the basis that we're assuming success, and these are our hopeful aspirations. We then want those same ambassadors to be working with older children. So gradually working up that chain. If you may engage with a school and you've talked to 13-year-olds or whatever, then why not go back and talk to the 14-year-olds and the 15-year-olds and get some of those people onto onto that same escalator. We provide the support to the organizations delivering ambassadors. Well, by the way, you do not have to do this through your organization. You can be an ambassador and do this, or you can be an ambassador if your company's decided to, is registered with us, then you can be an ambassador within the company. And those two things are clear options for people. So you don't have to be involved. If your employer isn't involved, you're more than welcome to still. We're keen for you to sign up to be an ambassador and go and do the things. If you do it through the organization, we also provide the tracking and the reminders to maintain those links, so to produce some measure of success and to support that success. And so therefore, over time, our goal is to show genuine results and to let people see where those results have been, what's actually happening. So by being able to be in touch with the schools and being able to be in touch with the company, we can do some tracking. Now, clearly, given the nature of what we're doing, given the nature of what people are doing, that's going to be gross and it's not going to be totally precise, but it will be indicative. So we will have an indication as to, we've gone out and visited these many schools, we've tracked these many people, and actually we've found, in many cases, a number of cases, where the success is. But I think our measure of success is how many people have we gone and taken this message to, and we can track that because we know who's gone for the visit, and we know what companies it's been in. So over time, our goal is to build that funnel, to continue to measure that funnel, and then to measure a degree of success out the far end. Now, to be blunt, there's also some other stuff. One of the challenges is, if we go out and talk to people about the opportunities in IT, and the IT channel specifically, then they're going to recognize, well, if there's all these opportunities in the IT channel, these same opportunities must be still in IT companies and in companies that are using IT, which is, the bulk of the industry in the country. So actually by default, we are also feeding, we're feeding the other industries, all the other industries that take people in where you might be sitting in front of a screen, but actually your knowledge of IT, you don't need knowledge of IT to sit in front of a screen, because actually you could be working in logistics, you could be working in sales, you could be working in customer service, you could be working in operations, you could be working anywhere. So we will clearly get, sidewash, for want of a better expression, where we've created the awareness, but actually they don't end up coming into the IT channel, they'll end up going into businesses with an IT opportunities. But basically, so that's our goal. Our goal is to grow that funnel, and is to measure the growth in that funnel, is to support companies to recognize what they're doing is strategic, because it's very easy. You go out and do it. If we don't engage with them, then you've done it, nothing happened. You didn't see somebody coming in the door tomorrow because you talked to somebody who's 13. They're not going to come in the door tomorrow. So our goal is to maintain this momentum, grow it, and then to start show empirical results so that people can see, feel, and touch the fact that they have begun to change our industry, and then to recognize it with people. That's we need to keep our message going out all the time to let people recognize what they're doing is fundamentally contributing to a change. 100,000 people is a lot of people to bring through the doors, and if we can do that, then, by the way, if we do this, it will support the increased growth in all elements of the channel. If we bring in 100,000 people, the companies who are currently constrained, and if you go and talk to people, if you talk to a VAR, if you talk to people in distribution, you're constrained in some of your growth because you've only got so much within your salary piece, within your cost base, where you can do things. But actually, if I can hire 3 people and I don't lose them every day, I don't lose them after 12 months or 18 months, 2 years, which is a message that we get. When we talk to people, there's people who've done a lot of work doing this, hiring people, training people, taking them right the way through, and then they don't get the benefit of the skill that they've put in them because actually they've been taken by somebody else. If we can change that equation, when you hire someone, if they stay for 3 or 4 years and you don't have to provide considerable inducements to try and retain them. You know, if you look at the larger companies, they have to provide significant inducements to retain staff. And every time you lose a member of staff, you lose the opportunity of what they were doing till somebody else has come in and has been trained. So, which is 6 months, 9 months. You're losing 9 months of opportunity for somebody you've already invested in to get there. We can transform the growth potential inside the IT channel, genuinely transform the growth potential. Everybody, you know, there's nobody I've spoken to who said, you know, I don't know why you want to do this. I don't know why you've got a team of people and why you've got directors who are absolutely enthusiastic and brilliant at what they're doing. You don't need this at all. Nobody said that, because the reality is this is the problem we've got. You know, everybody recognizes it. If we can change that, then everybody from top to bottom, everybody's company will get a benefit.
In terms of, you mentioned, I think that you haven't had anyone who's said to you, why are you doing it? But put it the other way, what sort of, have you had an overwhelmingly positive reaction in terms of people wanting to engage, etc.? I know it's very early days, but what has been the...
Yes, it has. I've had people, lots of people. We have, so it's not just me. It's the whole team. We've had a huge response, positive response from people who've come through and said, yes, think this is great, really believe in it, and to be really straight, the bulk of that has been altruistic as well as organizational. So yes, we want to get involved, but we think this is a great thing to be doing. You know, so yes, we'll get some benefit out of it, but actually we think this is a great thing to be doing. Huge, absolute huge response from people, people contacting us, all of us, and saying they want to be doing this, and they think it's a great thing to be doing for diversity, but also for kids. You know, so and I've had no negatives. You know, so back to this thing, it's and from all of the team, you know, all of the directors, it's been that positive. People have been contacting and saying, yes, we want to get involved. Yes, we want to be doing stuff. What can we do to help? Count us in, and count our organisation in. So we've been engaging with the organisations, going through to get people signed up and to get them into Hive, which is our core system for managing all of this. So it's been delightful. You know, it's been really nice. Lots of people have contacted us, all of us, and said, yeah, count us in. What do I do now? How do I do it? And so we've had to bear in mind this is a CIC, so we haven't got sponsorship yet. So while I'm on, if anybody wants to come in and give us some sponsorship, that would help, because we need some sponsorship to help fund more of the website, more of the Hive stuff, more of the collateral we're doing. But it's absolutely overwhelmingly positive, absolutely overwhelmingly positive, and a lot of people saying, yeah, it's great. Like, you know, let's sign up and do this.
Okay, it's an exciting initiative, and it would be good to chat again in, I don't know, 6 months' time to see what progress is made again. But at least for now, it's been brilliant to chat to you. Great explanation of what's going on, so Ian. Appreciate your time. Thank you.
Well, thank you for yours. And yes, 6 months would be great. That should give us time to get people signed up, get people out. Because the only problem we have is, because of our timing, we've got a fairly short window for schools. So our real piece will be giving people time over the summer to engage with schools to get them signed up to do it. So it'll be perfect timing in 6 months' time to come back and share our successes when we've got some. Yeah.
No, lovely. Thanks again. Thank you.
Thanks for your time.